During their rigorous training, medical residents absorb countless skills, from mastering intricate procedures to performing life-saving surgeries. Their ability to retain this knowledge can literally mean the difference between life and death. With this reality in mind, a 2006 research study set out to explore how learning methods affect performance. A group of surgical residents learning to suture arteries were divided into two groups. Both groups received identical materials, the same lectures, same resources, same total study time. But one group introduced a subtle shift in how they studied. And when tested a month later, that group significantly outperformed their peers in surgical performance. What was their secret? And what can it teach us about learning better and remembering more? In this video, we'll break down 3 powerful study techniques that work both in and out of the classroom. But first, let's understand how the brain actually learns and stores information. Take the example of studying the anatomy of the human heart. When you encounter a new concept, your brain begins by temporarily storing it in a region called the hippocampus. This information is encoded through networks of neurons firing in specific patterns. As you continue studying, perhaps reviewing heart chambers for a test, you reactivate those same neural circuits. This repetition strengthens connections between the neurons, making the memory more stable. Over time, the knowledge becomes long-term and is transferred to a region called the neocortex. The transfer process isn't fully understood, but it seems to happen between study sessions, and especially during sleep. That's when your brain weaves new information into what you already know. Like how heart anatomy connects to blood pressure or oxygen flow. But the process doesn't end there. Each time you recall that knowledge, you reactivate and reshape the memory. It becomes more flexible, more integrated, and more useful. And that's where our first study technique comes in: active recall. Using tools like flashcards and quizzes forces your brain to retrieve information, not just recognize it. This act of retrieval strengthens memory and makes it easier to access next time. Compare that with rereading notes or highlighting textbooks. Methods students often rely on. They may feel productive, but they can create a false sense of confidence. Because the answers are right there. Active recall reveals what you truly remember and where your gaps lie. And if you get the answer wrong, that's actually good news. Struggling to remember, then seeing the correct answer, helps your brain lock in the information more deeply. It's like your brain says, "Oh, that's what I was looking for," and it files the answer more securely. Our second strategy builds upon this: interleaving. Rather than studying one topic for a long block of time, mix different subjects within a session. Instead of drilling only heart anatomy, mix in nervous system terms or respiratory structures. This forces the brain to switch gears and retrieve different types of knowledge. In doing so, it forgets and remembers repeatedly, which strengthens retention. It also helps you recognize patterns, see connections across topics, and better understand what makes each unique. Once you know how and what to study, the next step is knowing when. This brings us to our third strategy: spaced repetition. Spread your study sessions across several days or even weeks. This spacing allows your brain to work offline while you rest, consolidating and connecting ideas. Yes, cramming the night before an exam may make the material feel fresh, but that information often fades quickly. It never gets a chance to settle into long-term memory. Let's return to our surgical residents. Both groups spent equal time learning, but one group crammed in a single day, while the other spaced out their practice over 4 weeks. And that spaced out group? They retained more, performed better, and applied their skills more confidently. All 3 of these strategies Active recall, interleaving, and spaced repetition work with the brain's natural learning process. They don't just help you study harder, they help you study smarter. By understanding how your brain learns, you unlock its true power, turning effort into mastery and information into transformation.